There we go, now we're live. Well, good morning, please be seated. Thank you all for being here. President Kelly, Speaker Arch, members of the 108th Legislature, tribal leaders, family, friends, distinguished guests. This is cool, my fellow Nebraskans. Our family has experienced incredible stuff the last 2 years, ever since we accepted the calling to campaign across Nebraska to become the 41st governor of Nebraska. We are incredibly humbled. Since the morning of November 9th, we've been working really hard, building our team, working on transition, and getting ready to compete for Nebraska. Thank you to all of you, for everyone, for your willingness to visit and engage, and for your answering the call of public service. I also want to thank all of our state teammates for their commitment to serving Nebraskans. Our family has had an incredibly deep emotional experiences over the last several months, from election night to taking the oath January 5th in front of all of you, to the inaugural ball, which was an incredible celebration of Nebraskans celebrating Nebraska on January 7th, to the passing of Suzanne's mom, Donna, last Wednesday, and celebrating her incredible life just 48 hours ago. You have all been so incredibly kind and gracious to Suzanne and me and our entire family. Just let me thank you from the bottom of our heart. We're very, very grateful. Thank you. When we talk about our greatest asset, people, sometimes we forget to acknowledge the amazing work done by Nebraska's caregivers every single day. That care that comes from doctors and nurses, other healthcare professionals, pastors, teachers, counselors, first responders, and many others. They do an incredible job of caring for each other. Oftentimes, though, that care doesn't come from a professional. It comes from our family. It comes from a mom or a dad, a brother or a sister, a daughter or a son. I need to pause for a moment and acknowledge the amazing relationship that existed between Suzanne and her mom and the impact that bond had on all of us. Our family watched Suzanne face the many blessings and challenges that came with being her mom's caretaker and major advocate. Whether we're caring for a relative who is elderly, ill, disabled, or struggling with mental health or substance abuse, our family caretakers are the incredible heroes. Lots of times we forget to say thank you. So I want to make sure we take a minute to say thank you. I want to recognize my bride, Suzanne, and all the other incredible family caretakers across the great state of Nebraska that love their family and do whatever it takes. Suzanne? Thank you. Our family heroes, right? They are the examples of perseverance, strength, and grace, and they're the essence of Nebraska. A place we all treasure about family, we care about one another, and we value each and every life. That's the strength of Nebraska, and that is my focus every day, people, not politics. Because of our people, the state of our state has never, ever been stronger. We, the people of Nebraska, have the grit and determination needed to solve the tough problems, overcome the difficult obstacles, no matter the circumstances. Today, I am presenting an agenda that will help us overcome serious challenges and make life better for every single family in our state. Like many of our neighboring states, we have more money in our coffers than anyone can believe or, quite frankly, comprehend. There's bushel baskets of it. All of us think $1 million is a lot, and by the way, it is, and that every nickel matters, and as my dad would say, we need to treat every one of them like manhole covers. But what we do with the people's money this session is critical for my grandbabies and yours, and for generations to come. We all agree we are taxed way too much in Nebraska. Our tax policy chases our kids out, chases our grandparents out of this state. We can't grow Nebraska that way. From my view, it's really simple. We must have the courage to say no. No to overspending, and maintain a focus of investing in our kids and giving this money back to Nebraskans via historic property and income tax cuts. We, Nebraska's leaders, must compete for Nebraska to win. The cuts I am proposing today make us more competitive. These proposals will not get us in the top 10, but we will rank number 15 if we enact them. I hope that you will support my vision and this strategy so Nebraska competes and wins. I believe that together we can, together we will, together we win. Today, I'm introducing a budget that restricts the growth of state spending to an annual average of just 1.3% over the next biennium. With an inspirational systems approach of running our agencies, we will improve services to Nebraskans and cut the costs of operations. This will enable Nebraskans to keep more of their hard-earned money. We have asked agencies to tighten their belts and focus on what's needed, not all the stuff that's nice. Needs are our focus. And we are leading by example. In the budget I'm presenting, the governor's office will not see one penny more than the prior budget. With just a 2% increase in the state appropriation for operations, the University of Nebraska, under the leadership of my former colleagues on the Board of Regents and President Ted Carter, will be challenged to focus on students' needs. All across state government, we will rise to better meet the high bar that Nebraskans have set for us through their example of working hard and tightening their belts. While carefully controlling the growth of state spending, we will work to provide significant tax cuts for Nebraskans, beginning with property tax. Our property taxes, we all agree, they are so far out of whack. Think of this, you don't even need to own property to be affected by our property taxes. We must lift this burden. We have to do it now. Today, I am recommending to the legislature an additional $2.4 billion in property tax cut for a total of $7.1 billion through fiscal year 26-27. And all Nebraskans will be really, really thrilled with your support. As part of this total, I am recommending an additional investment of $390 million into the Property Tax Credit Relief Fund. I'm also recommending that the state assume the responsibility for funding our community colleges across the state, which will immediately cut property taxes by nearly $300 million a year. We all agree our kids are our future. We need more of them to pursue their degrees here. Excuse me. We need to attract more students from other states. We need better outcomes for our Nebraska workforce. We need more engineers, actuaries, accountants, architects, geneticists, scientists, nurses, and teachers. We need more welders, auto technicians, electricians, technicians to fix computing dependencies on cars and trucks, tractors and combines, almost everything. It is essential. The success of our community colleges that were conceived over 50 years ago has a higher calling today in our state than ever before. It's the 20th century. 50% of our kids are not obtaining any training after high school. Together, we have to create better opportunities for all. The success of utilizing community college in Nebraska for students best suited for trades is a game changer. That is why this funding proposal is so important, helping us better meet the needs while cutting property tax. In addition to these investments in property tax reform, I'm also recommending $1.5 billion in additional tax cuts for individuals, families, and businesses, and Social Security recipients. I'm asking you all to phase down our individual income and business tax rates to 3.99% by 2027. This enables Nebraska to be more competitive in attracting and retaining investment, talent, and new opportunities. This is key to stopping out migration. I'm also asking the legislature to exempt Social Security income from state taxes by next year, 2024. In addition to these reforms, I'm presenting a series of transformative bills to the legislature combined with fiscal responsibility in state and local government will help fix our broken tax code and reduce property tax for years to come. Let me be clear, the property tax problem can't be solved by levy limits alone. Levy caps are misleading Nebraskans. When valuations skyrocket, they have little impact. When a levy is capped, but valuations increase, the cap does nothing to stop overspending. Our valuation system of our property tax is the problem, and it must be changed. Our first step is addressing valuations of ag and horticultural land. The market value of this land goes up almost every year, creating more and more money for government, and it's spent, simply vaporizing into the thin air before our very eyes, all without any regard to how much actual value the land creates for the family or farms or ranches. That is totally wrong, and it needs to be changed. By changing this from market-based to income-based assessments and capping ag land valuation growth, we can cut property tax and we can keep government growth in check, kind of like living within our means at home. My top priority, and that of all Nebraskans, is our kids. It's our kids. We all agree they're our future. That's why today I'm proposing the creation of an Education Future Fund with an investment of $1 billion in fiscal year 23-24, and an additional $250 million each year thereafter. This investment ensures that Nebraska will never give up on a single kid ever again. The Education Future Fund will provide further assistance to our school districts to help the needs of special education students across the state. It has been promised to local districts that 80% of special education funding would come from the state and federal sources. Hardcore reality, we're only funding half. We have to sufficiently support special education. This commitment is the state's job, not that of property taxpayers. This investment will ensure we meet the commitment to special education needs and enable property tax relief. This investment also includes a major structural change to our state aid to the education formula, TIOSA. This formula has long failed to meet the needs of those school districts that receive no equalization aid from the state. Today, I'm recommending an allocation of $1,500 annually to every public school student in every Nebraska school district. This foundation aid provides much needed for our rural school districts, which have been underserved for far too long. This investment, combined with special education funding reform, will provide more funding to every school district in the state. The Education Future Fund is a transformative investment of state tax dollars in education, but it must be combined with a framework that ensures dollar-for-dollar property tax relief. I am recommending a 3% cap on spending for school districts, which can only be overridden by 75% of local school board members vote, or 60% of voters in the vote of the people. As the state shoulders a greater portion of the cost of educating our kids, the burden on property taxpayers must be reduced through careful spending, control, and constraint by our school districts. This 3% cap will ensure property tax relief while maintaining local control. It will enhance accountability to the taxpayers and ensure that government does a better job of treating our nickels like manhole covers. Our kids want to stay here in Nebraska. They want to stay here and get their post-secondary education here. To address this, my budget provides $39.4 million to fund over 4,200 scholarships for Nebraska students who attend any of our Nebraska institutes of higher education. This helps us to compete for our kids and keep them here. I want to inspire and challenge Nebraska stakeholders and business leaders to pick up the ball and do business differently in Nebraska. We all need to reach out to K-12 and build relationships with our kids, get them to work at a young age and give them hope, scholarship them so they can get an education and work in your business for a minimum of 5 years in return. It's not only the right thing to do, but it's also the key to growing our workforce. It's the key to growing your business, and it's the key to growing our Nebraska. Focusing on all our kids, I'm recommending a $50 million investment for scholarships for Nebraska kids whose needs are best met outside of public education. Opportunity Scholarship tax credits will provide scholarships for kids who live in poverty, foster care systems, and those with special needs. We can't let one kid fall through the cracks. We are joined today by a very special lady, Tanya Santos, principal of Holy Name Catholic School in North Omaha, and some of her amazing teachers and students. Would you all please stand and be recognized? Holy Name. Holy Name accepts kids from every race, religion, walk of life, with a commitment to providing each one with the support they need to succeed. 99% of the Holy Name kids, families receive financial assistance to be able to send their kids to school. They believe, as I do, that limited means shouldn't deny a child an opportunity they need. These opportunity scholarships will help make that goal a reality for far more kids, like those that Principal Santos and her team serve. My budget also includes $10 million investment for the biennium to help recruit and train students in high field needs, such as teachers, nurses, and something I think I know a little bit about, food animal veterinarians for food security. I'm very, very proud to have Dr. Jace Ford stand, a new graduate who is practicing food animal medicine in Hyannis in our beloved Sandhills. Dr. Ford. Thank you. With vet school debt, the decision to practice food animal medicine in rural communities can be very difficult and intimidating, but we can and need to make it easier. Our food animal veterinarians are critical to our state's agricultural growth and to ensure food security, not only in our state, but in our great nation. I'm also committing $20 million to continue the Good Life is Calling campaign to market Nebraska. We simply have to brag about Nebraska across this country. With a focus on attracting top talent, we will be reporting back to you next year the results of this investment. I, like you, have really, really high expectations for solving our workforce challenge. This is a step forward. We must focus on our future, on the great careers, not jobs, great careers that exist here in Nebraska. Nebraska is a pro-life state. Many Nebraskans have been praying for 50 years to end abortion. We have to do more. This discussion, in my opinion, has gotten far too complicated and misleading. Here's what pro-life is not in Nebraska. It's not about preventative contraception. It's not about in vitro fertilization. It's not about fertility medicine discussions. It's simply about one thing. It's simply about ending the abortion of babies growing in mothers' wombs. I am fighting for the rights of every baby with a beating heart, pure and simple. I am fighting to help women choose life and love. Nebraskans will be a state that provides extensive resources to all women in need throughout their pregnancies. And I'll fight with all my might to make sure Nebraska becomes a place where parents who want to provide a great home for a child can find an easier route for adoption. instead of spending years on paperwork and red tape. Together we can, and as Suzanne coined for our family, love conquers all. Love conquers all. Love is what makes all the people of the state of Nebraska such a special place. This, right now, today, is the most important time in the history of our state. And as Nebraska's leaders, we are making decisions that will impact our state for generations to come. And if you don't sleep at night, I think that's a good thing. We have a big lift, big responsibility. These investments are more than education and tax cuts. Today, I'm also recommending to the legislature essential investments in law enforcement, infrastructure, and water. Water is vital to Nebraska. The drought makes it even more urgent. We must build the Perkins County Canal. We have had stakeholders across our state working on this project for over 20 years, fighting for Nebraska's rights via the Perkins Canal. My budget recommendation includes fully funding the canal. Infrastructure needs for Nebraska are more important than ever before. To grow Nebraska, we must address roads and broadband. My budget includes $100 million to leverage an additional $400 million in federal funds to improve our bridges and roads. Our team has also created the Nebraska Broadband Office. We have to get broadband across Nebraska completed. It will be the sole focus of the Nebraska Broadband Office, and I don't have any patience about it. Finally, our budget prioritizes even greater support and investment in the brave men and women of law enforcement. Today, we are joined by Trooper Brandon Sutton, who's done a tremendous job removing dangerous drugs from our streets in the past year of patrolling central Nebraska. Think about it, central Nebraska. His efforts have led to the seizure of nearly 37 pounds of cocaine, 11 pounds of fentanyl, 2 pounds of meth, and nearly 2,000 pounds of marijuana and 2 illegal guns. I've been trying to add it up. I don't know how many feed sacks of drugs that is, but that's a lot in central Nebraska. Trooper Sutton also serves as a TAC officer at the Nebraska State Patrol Training Academy, helping the next generation of troopers begin their careers. Trooper Sutton, would you please stand and be recognized? Trooper Sutton. Our state troopers, police officers, sheriffs, deputies, correctional officers, man, they put it all on the line every day to help keep us safe, and we must have their backs. I think the other thing, when we're out, there's never a time not to go up to someone in blue, shake their hand and look them in the eye and just say thank you. That is a gift of love that emanates through. If there's anybody that deserves it every single day, it's our blue. Today, I'm proposing significant law enforcement investments to the legislature. The first is an $18.6 million increase in funding for our treasured Nebraska State Patrol to ensure we can continue to recruit and retain the very best to serve and keep us safe. Second, I'm recommending finalizing the last phase of funding to the Nebraska to replace the Nebraska State Penitentiary, which this body has approved. The facility was designed more than a century ago. At a time, the mission was much different. Today, it can't sufficiently meet the security needs of the future. It can't meet the programming needs of our inmates to reduce recidivism, and can't get people back to work after they pay their dues to society for their transgressions. A new facility will have additional space for programming and will help more people become productive, law-abiding citizens. One of the groups charged with protecting our state is the Nebraska National Guard. It's incredible. We have over 4,000 Guard men and women that answer the call in both the Army and Air Guard. We are fortunate today to have several distinguished members with us. As I call out their names, I would ask each to stand and be recognized. This first is somebody really, really doing good from Monroe, Nebraska. Staff Sergeant Brian Coomer. Senior Master Sergeant Nathan Schmatter. Nathan, thank you. Staff Sergeant Alicia Bushhausen. Thank you. Senior Airman Corey Weber. And Master Sergeant Crystal Pahula. Each of these individuals has distinguished themselves by deploying overseas missions, providing humanitarian relief, and supporting critical operations within the United States. Let me tell you, they are among the best example of Nebraska's well-trained and dedicated military soldiers and airmen. We salute your service to our state. We are all humbled, and we thank you. We thank you for safeguarding our liberty. Thank you very much. We all believe in our kids. We all believe in doing what's right. We all believe in doing our best every day. We all believe in treating each other the way we want to be treated. That's the Nebraska way. We are Nebraska. Together we can. Together, this session will impact Nebraskans for generations. Folks, we simply have to compete for Nebraska. As your governor, it's really simple, really simple. I want Nebraska to win. I know you do as well. Together, we'll win for Nebraska. God bless you for all that you do, and may God bless this incredible state of Nebraska. Thank you all for inviting me here this morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Will the committee of five please escort the governor out of the chamber?